All right, back on Sports Pit Betting Insight today. Pauly and Teddy, Monday, July 25th, less than 2 weeks away from our first preseason game in the NFL. We finish our division previews today with the Dallas Cowboys. We finish off the NFC East. Big game breakdown, Tigers, Red Sox, Cubs, and the White Sox before bad beats and bad bets is sale for sale. And how about what happened over the weekend where he cut up all the replica or the throwback jerseys because he didn't want to wear them because they were uncomfortable? He suspended 5 games. Teddy, does this help or hurt his trade value?
I don't think it makes any difference. And let me start with this. I'm 100% in agreement with Chris Sale, and If I was him, I'd have cut those uniforms up myself.
Yes.
All right. If you try to put a player out there in a uniform from 1970s, all right, and he's not comfortable and it's not good, why are they doing the throwback uniforms? It's real simple. They make money. The owners make money off the jersey sales. So they put throwback uniforms. That's fine. Do it once in a while. That's fine. Sales like, these uniforms stink. I can't wear them. I'm not comfortable. I'm not going to pitch well. It's in my head. And I like that. I like what he did. I think it's ballsy going, yeah, let's just cut him up. And look at this is, his agent was talking to the GM, and the quotes are this. The only thing that matters to Chris Sale is winning. If he perceives that something is distracting from that or being prioritized over that, he's going to have a problem with it. There is no better teammate or competitor than Chris, and there's no player who cares more about the city of Chicago and its fans than him. And I don't disagree with any of that. I take Chris Sale on my team, and it doesn't hurt his trade value, not one bit. Or maybe there's an organization that says, this guy's not gonna, he's a wise guy. He's gonna talk back. But in 2016, are there really a lot of organizations that think that way? I don't think so. I think it's just fine for Chris Sale. I don't blame him for doing what he did.
Yep, I got his back on that too. And the starting pitcher's supposed to decide what uniform they're supposed to wear. Most teams do that. So there's a problem there between the players and management. The heat index, the heat wave that happened. We missed something over the weekend. Wide strike zone by the umpires who wanted to get the hell out of there. How about what happened Friday?
Yeah, I mean, look, in our weekend preview show, we talked a lot about the effects of the heat wave and what we can expect from lineups, what we can expect from starting pitchers, what we can expect from bullpens. But in retrospect, and look, I'm not perfect, you're not perfect, there's nobody perfect in this world, and certainly not in the sports betting world. If you're perfect for too much, you're not going to be able to bet. Everyone will kick you out. But the key is learning from your mistakes. And boy, I'm watching the games Friday night, and I'm like, man, we missed something. We really missed something here. Because when you're talking about 100-degree heat and humidity and all of that type of stuff, and the umpires are sitting out there, they're wearing black. They're dressed in long sleeves and long pads, and they got pads over it. You know what happens on nights like that? Well, all of a sudden the strike zone gets a little bit wider and a little bit wider. All of a sudden a ball's a foot outside is getting called a strike, and a ball that's up to a guy's eyes is getting called a strike, and a ball that's around his ankles is getting called a strike. The umpires recognize the dangerous conditions, and they called the games accordingly. And of course, there was some random chance involved. Friday night with that epic 14-1 night to the under. It didn't hold over the weekend. Over the weekend, basically. 13 unders, 14 overs, and a couple of pushes with that Tigers White Sox game on Saturday that got suspended, ruled as no action. But for that one day, at least, we saw some really wide strike zones. That was something we missed, Pauly, in our analysis.
Yep, all right. Bad bets, the Angels and Lincecum. Lincecum got roughed up. He's got an ERA of 8.70 after 7 starts. This could be it for Timmy.
Well, yeah, you look at the picture right here. Pitching in the twilight, and you wonder if this past start was the twilight of his career. I mean, he was awful. And, of course, money came pouring in on the Angels. They were plus 180, plus 185 at the open. It was bet down to plus 150. They're betting on Lincecum. I didn't understand it. I still don't understand it. Lincecum faced 13 batters. 9 of them reached base. 8 of them scored. 3 of them went out on the big, fat home runs. And Houston had already seen Lincecum once this year. I don't want my money on Lincecum in any second-look situation. And not much drama there. The Astros beat the Angels for the 11th straight time this year. I'm a little bit disappointed with how bad the outing was for Lincecum because I'm not convinced I'm going to get another chance to fade him before he's gone. Bye-bye forever.
Yep, makes sense there. The books got clobbered on the Reds and the under.
Yeah, or on the Reds and the over.
Yeah,
that total got bet up from 9.5 up to 10.5. Arizona took money from, they were underdog at the open. They closed minus 120. And of course, people asked, oh, do the sharps bet wise guys? Yeah, they bet, the wise guys bet parlays. You're darn tootin' they do, especially when you have a side and total situation that are related here. And they were betting against Cincinnati in every way that they could on Sunday. The books, this wasn't a public game. This was a syndicate game. And guess what? The syndicates hammered the books on the Reds D-backs, both side and total.
Bad beat. The Brewers plus $1.40 as underdogs. Bullpen blew up. Rizzo with a big 3-run RBI double to give the Cubbies the lead, and they held on for the win.
Well, we've been talking about Junior Guerra all year.
Yes.
Or not all year, but certainly since he came up in May and started pitching really well. The 32-year-old rookie does it again. He didn't give up an earned run in 6.1 innings, leaves with a comfortable lead. And then the Brewers bullpen comes into play. Will Smith comes in. It goes like this. Single, error, double, intentional walk, double, single. 5-run later, Guerra and the Brewers don't get the win. It's the 5th time in the last 10 starts Guerra's thrown a quality start without notching a W. And you notice who got the win for the Cubs in that game?
Joe Nathan.
Yeah. He said the adrenaline was flying. It felt like opening day.
Yeah.
Nathan back in the big leagues after missing the first 3 months of the campaign. And, of course, back in the big leagues with a contender in Chicago.
Yeah, good for him. Brutal push. Detroit, the Tigers, White Sox total, 4-1 in the 9th. Robertson does it again. Blows a 3-run lead, gives up 3 home runs. And the White Sox win it in the bottom
game
of the
ends
9th,
5-4. Oh, I was going to say, you got a 4-1 lead in the 9th. You're expecting to catch that under ticket, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. He becomes the first pitcher since the 50s to give up 3 home runs and get the win. Man.
3 home runs in an inning.
That's right.
Get
yes,
the win.
Yes, that was unbelievable. Do we worry? Now, we talked about this last week. Giants lose 2 out of 3 in New York. Are we going to worry about the lead's down to 3 games now in the division?
Yes. The answer is yes. I'm worried about the Giants, especially the way the Dodgers have come to life since Kershaw went on the DL. Do we worry about San Fran? Look, they scored 24 runs in the first 9 games after the break. They were shut down again on Sunday. Their only win, they've gone 1-8 during this span, has come by a 2-1 margin. And when you look at some of the teams, the top first half teams, the Rangers make everyone a bunch of money in the first half, and the Cubs made everyone a bunch of money early on, and the Giants made everyone a bunch of money in the first half. And they've all been money losers. You look at the last 20 games, last 30 games, sample sizes for all of those teams coming back to earth. How about this? The Cubs, and I know we're talking about the Giants, but the Cubs now rank 22nd in profitability for the season. They were like the number 1 team for a long time, in the top 5 forever. It doesn't take too many losses, $2 or $3 chalk, for a season's worth of profits to float down the drain. And of course, the Cubs, 15 of the last 18 losses have come as chalks. That's not the case with San Fran or Texas, but San Fran night now, they're not hitting. We got questions about that pitching staff. You just wonder if that 40-15 run prior to the All-Star break has left this team overvalued. Well, they have obviously let them overvalued coming out of the break, but you wonder if that continues as they're taking on, coming home to face Cincinnati and DeSclafani this evening.
Yeah, that's the Nationals after that. Big game breakdown coming up, and we preview the Dallas Cowboys on SportsBit Betting Insight today.
Hey, SportsBit viewers, tune into the MLB Odds Couple show for today, Monday, July 25th. Have we got a great show for you guys today? Actually, that's not true. We have a mediocre show. We have an okay show, but you should tune in anyway because, I got a bunch of first halves that I think are really good.
I like it too. Come on, guys, have a beer with us after you're done with Teddy and Pauly, and let's get it done.
Back on SportsBit, time for Big Game Breakdown. As always, live odds, sportsbookreview.com. Big matchup between 2 second-place teams in the American League, the Tigers and the Red Sox. Verlander against Pomerance. Boston, $1.50, 10 under $1.25. And some question marks about both pitchers. Let's start with Verlander, who really got it going before the All-Star break. Can he keep it up, Teddy?
Well, yeah. Look at the first 2 games back. 15 innings of work, 2 earned runs allowed, and this is the really impressive stuff. 6 hits, 4 walks, 19 strikeouts. All right? When you have nearly twice as many strikeouts as base runners, you're doing something right. And we've talked a lot about Verlander on this show this year, saying, well, I'm not sure if this guy's really got it still. Look, the guy had a 93.2 average velocity in his fastball last year. The first game after the break was at 95, then back down to 93.9 against the Twins. So you wonder if that KC win, 8 days off, was that just a one-off type of performance? Or are we going to see Justin Verlander bring his momentum or bring his velocity back to where it was? And the game against the Twins was something of the aberration. It's worth noting, though, I mean, for Detroit, I'm a little bit reluctant to back them this evening for one reason and one reason only. Man, you want to talk about momentum getting snapped? Lost 2 games in the bottom of the ninth on the same day on Sunday. That is problematic, and that is not, in my mind, a buy sign for any team, especially when they're going into a very big series like this one.
Sure. Now we have Pomerance. A lot of questions about him. We told you on SportsBit, and maybe not a good fit going from Petco to Fenway. It's going to be a different ball game. And remember, at the top of the show, we told you about how bad the Giants' offense has been since the break. Let's put that in perspective, what they did to Pomerance in his first start. 3 innings pitched, 5 earned runs, 8 hits, 5 strikeouts, 2 home runs. 10 of the 19 batters that Pomerance faced reached base.
Yeah, Pomerance is, and again, we warned you here on SportsBit. Maybe we should have warned the Red Sox management before they made this deal. I mean, San Fran did have one advantage in that game. It was their 4th look at Pomerance this season. Now, most Tigers haven't faced him. Miggy's never faced him. Victor Martinez never faced him. Ian Kinsler's never faced him. Nick Castellanos has never faced him. So that is certainly a better situation for Pomerance than it was in that first start at Fenway. But I'm telling you, Fenway is a very, very tough pitcher, a very, very tough place for a left-handed pitcher that doesn't throw hard enough to keep the ball from being pulled against the Green Monster. And let's not forget, the Red Sox say they don't need Pomerance to be an ace. They need him to eat innings. They got Kimbrel on the DL, they got O'Hara on the DL, and the bullpen the last 2 games have been awful, Pauly. 5.2 innings, 8 earned runs, 11 hits, 6 walks. If the Sox are going to get something from Pomerance, it's more about eating innings than it is about him pitching at an ace level.
Yep. Game number 2, liveoddsportsbookreview.com. Cubbies and the White Sox. Arrieta against Gonzalez. Cubs $2. 8.5 the total. Cubs get to play a road series where they get to sleep in their own beds. And before it's over, they might have Chapman on the team. Looks like that deal could get done with Chapman going from the Yankees to the Cubbies for the prospect of shortstop Torres. So the Cubs were certainly happy to see Arrieta get back into form as he pitched well against the Mets last time out. That's what the doctor ordered with a little twist added, Teddy.
Yeah. He gave up 1 run over 7 innings against the Mets. 63 of his 85 pitches were strikes. And note, 85 pitches and only 7 innings of work. What's the change? Well, you said it came with a little bit of a twist. Season-long curveball rate, he's thrown it about 12% of the time. Against the Mets, it was almost 18% of the time. So he was relying on that curveball as an out pitch, and that really adds another dimension to his fastball and a slider for hitters to deal with. Worth noting, we talked about how he was throwing strikes all night. 25 of his first 27 pitches were strikes. And the quote after the game, you got it right there, Paul. Why don't you read it?
I do not have that.
Oh, well, then I got it.
You got it.
Arrieta, that was a little more like it. I was really aggressive in the strike zone and used my off-speed pretty well throughout the game. That was vintage Jake Arrieta last time out. Let's see if he can do it again.
Yes. Now, the White Sox aren't buyers like the Cubs. They're sellers. And if Sale's gone, it'd be a lot more of Gonzalez. So welcome to 4th place there.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just Gonzalez. Guys like Gonzalez, because that's what 4th place teams put out in the month of August, is guys like Miguel Gonzalez. Look, he went 9-12 with a 4.91 ERA with the Orioles last year. He's 2-5 with a 4.41 with the White Sox this year. 32 years old. He's not a guy with any real upside anywhere. And of course, the White Sox have problems early with Gonzalez, and they probably got problems late in this ballgame. Robin Ventura gambled. We talked about David Robertson in the opening segment of today's Sports Bit and the struggles that he had in the 9th inning. Well, he used Robertson twice yesterday. He completed the Saturday suspended game and then to cap Sundays. And obviously we talked about the 3 home runs allowed. Robertson pitched 39 pitches, through 39 pitches across those 2 outings. He will not be available to close out on Monday.
All right. Dallas Cowboys coming up next in the deep dive in the play of the day on SportsBit. Betting insight today on SBRpicks.com.
Always on the go? Bet365 has one of the top mobile platforms in today's market. Sign up today and don't let your busy life keep you out of the game.
All right, NFC East, the final division. Before we get to the Cowboys, important announcement. Don't freak out. We're on vacation next week. It's the only time we're taking a week off. We'll be here for Christmas, Christmas Eve, New Year's, Thanksgiving. Teddy's going to San Francisco. I'm going to San Diego. So when we come back, football season, baby. Looking forward to that. All right. Dallas Cowboys, win totals 9. Throw out last year, Romo was hurt. They had a mash unit. 4-12 straight up, 4-11-1 ATS, 10-6 to the under. The mainstream stats, 22nd in offense, 17th in defense, yards per play, 14th. Look at this. Dead last in turnovers. They only had 11 takeaways. 24 of the 32 teams had 21 takeaways or more, and the Cowboys had 11.
Well, and the funny thing about it is you think, what happened in Dallas last year? Oh, their quarterback situation was so bad. No, it wasn't that their quarterback situation was so bad, but their defense didn't do anything. 11 takeaways for a season. Teams will do that in 3 weeks if they're running good.
Yeah, right.
What do we got with Dallas? We have Jason Garrett now entering his 6th year. And I'm with you in terms of the concept of throwing out many of the stats from last year. Last year, Dallas was as injury-riddled as it gets, although the potential exists for more of that this year. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's talk about Jason Garrett right now. 6th year, he's Jerry Jones' buddy. I don't know that there's a must-win on Jason Garrett in Jason Garrett's world. He could be there for a while. But when you're talking about betting and the Dallas Cowboys, here's a stat you have to know. Jason Garrett, 5 years on the job. The Dallas Cowboys have been home favorites 29 times since Jason Garrett took over. They've covered the spread in 7 of those games. 7-22 ATS as home chalk. No winning season in that role. Their best year as home chalk was 3-3 ATS. And make no mistake about it, you look at the schedule, Dallas could be favored in all 8 home games this year. They're likely to be favored in at least 7 of them.
We like offensive coordinator Scott Linehan. He takes shots down the field. 3rd year on the job. Marinelli's a defensive coordinator. So 2 former head coaches as coordinators, experienced staff, and the fact that Garrett brought them back, he values their input. They were the number 4 offense in the NFL in 2014 before the injury barrage. The best offensive line in football, loaded with skill position talent. Romo, 36 years old, but he's missed 24 regular season games the last 5 years, which means who's the backup? And with Castle gone, it's Kellen Moore, Showers, Dak Prescott. I don't know what to do if Romo. Well, they're done if Romo gets hurt again.
Yeah, but of course, and the thing is, Romo's not supposed to be getting hurt. All right, this team's, as you mentioned, loaded with skill position talent. You got Des Bryant coming back, obviously, is the big name. But you look at the offensive line: Martin, Frederick, Smith, all Pro Bowlers last year. It is probably the best offensive line in the NFL. And they were the number 4 offense last year before everyone got hurt. But the backup quarterback situation. Look, Romo, as you mentioned, he's 36 years old.
Uh-huh.
He's missed games. He misses games every year. And you're like, here's our backup QB problem. Let's see. Let's get the rookie Dak Prescott out of Mississippi State. Nah. Jamil Showers. Nah. Kellen Moore. Moore, what was he? He went undrafted in 2012. He's had 3 games in his career, 2 starts, 0 wins. And the thing with Kellen Moore, he's 6 foot when he's wearing high heels, Paul. He's dressed in drags. He's 200 pounds dripping wet. All right. Now, he's not big enough to survive in the NFL. He did play well under Linehan in his first 2 seasons in the league in Detroit. But I'm telling you right now, if Tony Romo gets banged up, if there's anything going on with Romo at 36 years old, the 2016 Dallas season could start to look a whole lot like the 2015 Dallas season.
Yeah. More on the skill position talent. They love Ezekiel Elliott. Took him top 5 in the draft. You actually have to lay about $1.50 for him to win the Offensive Rookie of the Year, so everyone thinks he's going to win that. It's also have Alfred Morris, Darren McFadden, Des Bryant, as you mentioned, and Terrence Williams, Witt, and Cole Beasley. A lot of weapons there for Romo. Defensively, my God, with the suspensions. They've lost McClain, Gregory, and Lawrence already to big-time suspensions.
Yeah, Lawrence and Gregory both gone for 4 games. McClain is down for 10 games, and that's really significant. Someone misses September, so be it. Someone misses into November. You don't know if they're even going to have a season. And of course, it's a defense that didn't really have a whole lot of a pass rush before Randy Gregory got suspended and Rolando McClain got suspended. Now it's a big void for Dallas, particularly early in the season. Look, Sean Lee was finally healthy last year, made the Pro Bowl at linebacker. Orlando Scandrick, their best cornerback, he got hurt in training camp last year, didn't play. He's back, and the talent around him is still very much a question mark. They had a couple of defensive additions. The biggest one, maybe the defensive tackle Cedric Thornton from Philly. That's not exactly an impact move for a team that continues to have significant salary cap woes, and that's been a problem for Dallas for the last 4 or 5 years. Your owner's your GM. Your GM hands out bad contracts and hands out fat contracts. So what happens is that when you're handing out bad and fat contracts, you end up with a top-heavy roster. You pay too much for the good guys, and you don't have enough depth. That was on display for Dallas last year. And you look at this team, their starters, they're Super Bowl caliber starters. Dallas has that potential if they stay healthy. But if injuries strike, there's nothing behind the guys who are starting. And when you look at that QB rotation, you know what it makes me want to do, Pauly? It makes me want to bet against the Cowboys in the preseason, which is something that has been a pretty good moneymaker over the years. And this year looks like a real moneymaker because Garrett, the number one thing Garrett has to do this year is make sure nobody gets hurt in camp.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. They just wanted to get the hell out of there last year, and he made a ton of money betting against them in the preseason. How about how the markets like the Cowboys and they don't like the rest of this division?
Yeah, I mean, again, when you look at Dallas's starters compared to everybody else, you say, wow, Dallas is better than everybody else. And that's the way a lot of the analysis goes when it comes to betting on these squads. Now, I'm kind of a freak when it comes to depth, and I'm kind of a freak when it comes to preseason football. And I like to watch second units play and third units play in August because I want to know, hey, does this team have an offensive line that can do anything if somebody gets hurt? What does a backup quarterback look like? I feel like the time I spend watching preseason in August pays dividends for me in October and November and December when you get to see some of the guys that weren't supposed to be playing that end up having to play. So Dallas has that top-heavy type of a roster. That's something the markets are attracted to. And there's nobody else they like in the division. I mean, they've been heavy money against Washington, heavy money against Philly. And, the Giants haven't exactly been taking money hand over fist either. So Dallas is the team that the syndicates and the wise guys are expecting to be the dominant team in the division. I mean, you grade out the starters. It's easy to understand why.
Yeah. How about the schedule?
Well, I mean, the NFC East plays the NFC North and the AFC North this year. The Cowboys, 2 extra games. This is another reason why Dallas is taking money and let's say a team like Washington is not. Dallas, their 2 extra games are San Fran and Tampa Bay. Washington's 2 extra games, they're playing a couple teams that finished in first place last year, not last place like the Cowboys get to face. Those 2 extra games make a big difference in terms of strength of schedule. And let's make this very clear. When you look at the aggregate, compared to last year they had a top quartile strength of schedule. They faced a much tougher than average schedule. This year, based on this year's season win totals, not last year's records, this year's win totals, it's gone from being one of the toughest schedules in the NFL to one of the weakest in the bottom quartile schedules in the NFL. They're playing all of these night games. You're going to see them on TV every week. 11 of their 16 games are not at 1 o'clock on Sundays, Eastern Standard Time. They're going to get tons of pub. They're going to get tons of hype. And you look at that start, what do they got? The Giants, the Redskins, the Bears, the Niners. Not that hard to picture a 4-0 off of that start for Dallas, in which case the hype machine once again will start for a team that has been consistent underachievers since those early Super Bowls in the Jerry Jones era.
Early lean?
I would look Dallas over before I looked under, but I don't think I get to the window with it.
Yeah. All right. Play of the day. Money time. Where are we going?
Well, you tell me where we're going, Mr.
We're going,
Astros.
let me grab it here. We're going betting number 964. Astros red hot. Keuchel's won his last 3 decisions. He's always pitched well against the Yankees. Keuchel against Pineda will fade Pineda here. He pitched well the last time out. He's 4-9. Big deal. The Orioles were sick of the flu in that game. Astros $1.50 at home. They can smell the playoffs, and they're on fire, especially hitting the ball as well. Astros, the play of the day. We're back tomorrow on SportsBit. Betting Insight Today.